What's up YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul. Welcome to Tips and Tricks Thursday, episode number 23. Today I'm going to show you how to use Rewire with Logic Pro and Ableton Live. Now, what Rewire is basically a talking point for two DAWs to talk to each other. So if you want to bring in some sounds from another DAW and bring into, let's in this case, Logic, well, that's what you use Rewire for, and I'm going to show you how to do it. It's fairly easy. It's not that hard as you may all think. And so with that said, let's get straight into the tutorial. So right here I have Logic open. The key step that you got to make sure that you do is the order in which you open the program. So if you want Logic to be the main program, in other words the master, then you open that one first. And then if you want, let's say, another program to be open for the Rewire slave it's called, let's say it's either Reason or Ableton Live. In this case it's Ableton Live, so we'll say Ableton Live is going to be the slave, so we open that second. So Logic will be open first, and then Ableton Live will be open second. That is the order in which we open the programs for this to work properly. So with that said, right here I have Logic, and I'm going to head on over to Ableton Live to show you what I got there. And I'll see you there. Alright, so here I am in Ableton Live. It's just a little project that I sort of set up for this tutorial's sake, just to show you what to do and what you can do with it. Basically, Ableton Live right now is running in slave mode, which means it's listening to whatever Logic says. So if Logic says, hey, I don't want the tempo to be 120, I want it to be, let's say, 90 or 105, this will listen to it and it'll change. So whatever Logic says, Live will follow. So if I go ahead and hit play, you won't hear anything because it's waiting for Logic to bring in some of the sounds. Alright, so let's head on over to Logic and get some of these sounds into Logic. I'll see you there. Alright, so now that we got Logic open first, Live open second, and we got both projects ready to go, let's get into bringing some of those sounds from Ableton Live into Logic via the Rewire. So first step we got to do is hit X on your keyboard. And if you see along to the most left hand side of the mixer window, you'll see a plus sign button. Hit it. And this allows you to create auxiliary tracks. So right now we want to create, let's just take the whole mix from Ableton Live and bring it into Logic. So I'm going to do one track, and it'll be one stereo track. And the input will be Ableton Live Rewire. If you have, let's say, Reason open, it will say Reason, and then you'll just bring in the track that you want there. RW stands for Rewire. So right now I have Live open, so showing me Ableton Live and the full mix from Ableton. Click Create. And I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and you'll hear the sounds from Ableton Live. And so that sounds a little fast. So again, Logic controls the tempo. So I'm going to go ahead and change the tempo. Let's say to 92 or 91. Go ahead and hit play. As you can see there, Logic controls the tempo and it changed it automatically. All sounds good, but let's say we don't want to just bring in the whole track, stereo left and right as a whole. We want to bring in those individual tracks into Logic so we can mix and use it into Logic with our other parts to the song that we have already recorded in Logic. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's head on over back to Ableton Live. I'll see you there. Alright, so now we're back in Ableton Live, and the reason why we heard a whole stereo mix of the mix is because our output is set to left and right here as our master out. And that's what we bring in to hear the whole, but we want to have the individual tracks. So what we do is go to the individual tracks and go audio out, and we'll say Rewire out. And then we don't want to start a mix left and right because that is the entire mix. If you ever want to go back and listen to the entire mix, always leave stereo 1 and 2 or left and right alone and skip that and go to bus 3-4 as your first track. And from there you go up in value. So go Rewire out on each track, go bus 3-4. Again, go audio 2, Rewire out, bus 5-6. Oop, this one should be 5-6. This one's 7-8. Master out, Rewire out. Go to, what am I at? 9-10. And then again, Rewire out, 11 and 12. So basically what I did right there is set up all my outputs of each track in Ableton Live, and I'm going to bring it into Logic via separate tracks as well. So I can mix further in Logic because, hey, I like working in Logic. So let's go on and head over back to Logic. I'll see you there. Alright, so now we're back in Logic. So again, I'm just going to mute the track that we just created. And I'm going to go create another, a couple more auxiliary tracks, which I believe there was 5 tracks there. So let's go 5 auxiliary tracks, stereo, Rewire, and we're going to start it from 3 and 4 because that's what our first track starts at. And I'm going to make sure the ascending is clicked. This way I don't have to change the inputs of all the inputs on each track. Logic will do it automatically for me. So Rewire 3, 4, and it'll ascend up to 11 and 12. So let's go ahead and create. So there is my tracks right there, and I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and you will hear all the individual tracks from Ableton Live into Logic right now. So I can go ahead and solo each track, as you can see. Alright, so that's how you use Rewire Ableton Live into Logic. Very simple, as you can see, it's just a couple of clicks, and from there you can adjust some of your settings here. You can EQ it, you can add any effects that you like in Logic to any of those tracks that you just brought in, because that was the point why you brought into Logic, because you want to mix in Logic, you like Logic, so that's why we use Rewire into other DAWs. And yeah, so let's say you're using Reason. All you have to do is just set your audio outputs to certain outputs. So you can set your audio outputs to anything that you want. So it could start at 10, 11, it can start at 21, 22. Reason has a lot of audio outputs. Just make sure you drag each instrument to a separate audio output. And then in Logic, when you come into Logic, hit the plus sign, add some auxiliary tracks. And when you bring this down, you'll see Reason over here. And then you just select the tracks that you sent your audio from Reason into Logic. Now I know, again, that is probably a little confusing, but you will understand it. It's very simple once you do it for the first time. So go ahead, try that, have fun. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section. And so that, again, that's how you use Rewire with Logic. Have fun with that. If you want more videos, remember to rate and subscribe. I will talk to you guys soon. Later.
Thursdays.